Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Ringo TV Reactions. You know, I learned that when it comes to speaking truth, no one really cares. But see, in this fight for justice for Stephen Twitch Boss, it's only a few people that stand the test of time. It's only a few people that have the will to talk, whereas everyone else hide in the shadows and remain quiet. Only a few people do the work. So, moving further, this work that I do is for Twitch, for his memory. It's not for you, because you don't care. This is for the people that have a soul. Because, see, a lot of you, everything is entertainment. It's not about truth. It's not about support. It's not about nothing. And this is why this man was murdered. And with all the work that was put in to bring awareness to this truth, it's as if though people just sit back and just ignore. So I'm gonna get right into this after my intro, and I'm gonna break this thing down like no other. And remember, this is for Twitch. This is in his memory. This is in his defense. Because as far as I'm concerned, everybody's an enemy of Twitch. Because when you don't support this truth, you don't support Twitch. You wasting your damn time being here. Real talk.
Yo, nigga, about that paper.
Ringo TV.
Yo, nigga, about that paper. Yo, nigga, about that paper. Yo, nigga, about that paper.
Ringo TV.
True man, I'm free, I wake up a new episode. I pop out clean as keep me up a level though. She talk to me like I'm not me, I get it though. Yeah, I'm so eclectic, on me to the credits roll. Talk down to me, they might have to send medical. I'm out the league, I'm OD, they pathetic though. Look how I move, I'm protected. Saudi so soon in my presence. The world going through it outside, they unruly, but I keep it cool, they can't press me. I keep it pure with intention. They see what I'm on, ain't no vixen. I might like do it that top down. I keep it tuned with a high power. Put it on me, I'm blessed. Young nigga blessed. Big bag, manifest the sky, no stress. Keep no evil around me, can't ground me. I built it since when I had less. No hex on, God can't pause, nigga, look at how far we progress. Whatever we doing, we keeping it fluid. I don't see a threat. Yo, nigga, about that paper.
Ringo TV.
Yo, nigga, about that paper. Yo, nigga, about that paper. Yo, nigga, about that paper. Hop on that jet, had to switch to the coast. One of a kind, I've been playing that role. They pay me to play me, I needed it for. It's real if I said I meant what I spoke. I'm legend, it's written, I shake up the city. Spin block till I'm dizzy, won't ever go broke. I'm chose, I must like do it at top down. I keep in tune with a high power. Put it on me, I'm blessed. Young nigga blessed. Big bag, manifest the sky, no stress. Keep no evil around me, can't ground me. I built it since when I had less. No hex on, God can't pause, nigga, look at how far we progress. Whatever we doing, we keeping it fluid. I don't see a threat. Yo, nigga, about that paper.
Ringo TV.
Yo, nigga, about that paper. Yo, nigga, about that paper. Yo, nigga, about that paper. Put it on me, I'm blessed. Big bag, but I fix the sky, no stress. Can't ground me, I know this since when I had less. Look how far we progress. Fluid, I don't see a threat.
We're back. Ringo TV reactions. Getting into this book, Allison Holker. I'm going to break this thing down, and I'm going to act like you're not even here. Because it's not about you. It's about Twitch. And I realize he don't have nobody to defend him. And I'm the only one on social media that do the work and take the risk, while everybody else sit in the shadows and ignore the people that actually put everything on the line. Manny Cross, where you at to do this work? You ain't doing no work. You busy hiding. Twitch's family, where you at? You ain't doing this work. I'm the one doing the work. Because I'm the only one that actually care. That's right. So we're going to get into this thing. Chapter 13, A Staggering Discovery. The review of Allison Holker's book. The controversial book that a lot of people been talking about. We're going to break this thing down. Again, if you read the chat, I won't be interacting with no one. I'm just focusing on what I got to do. And that's how I'm going to be moving forward. Because if you're not going to support the work, support the show, click the like button, do what you need to do on your end, then I'm not wasting my time interacting with the live chat. I'm just going to talk, do what I got to do. So, a staggering discovery. When combing through Stephen's journals after his death, I gained a sickening clarity, if not a concrete sense of why he did what he did. It's what Allison wrote. She was combing through his journals after his death. I gained a sickening clarity, if not a concrete sense of why he did what he did. Now, when I read that, it's almost like she's saying she know why he took his life. That sounds crazy. Because if you're supposed to be his wife, how could reading through his journal give you clarity on why he did what he did? That don't make any sense. You comb through his journals after his death, gained a sickening clarity, if not a concrete sense of why he did what he did. How could you know why he did what he did? But yet, in all the interviews you've done, the statements you put out to the media, you didn't know why he did what he did. That don't make no sense. A few of his entries would allude to sexual abuse he endured as a child at the hands of an adult male, a trauma he detailed in strict confidence to his friend, who relayed the conversation to me only after Stephen's death. Now, I got a problem with that, because why would Stephen's friend come to you to tell you about some alleged sexual abuse? Why would a friend come to tell you that after he died? Make that make sense. It don't make sense to me. A few of his entries would allude to sexual abuse he endured as a child at the hands of an adult male, a trauma he detailed in strict confidence. Well, if he did it in strict confidence, why are you talking about it? If he did that in strict confidence, why would you talk about it? Why would you even tell us? That don't make no sense. All right. A trauma he detailed in strict confidence to his friend, who relayed the conversation to me only after Stephen's death. I don't expect I'll ever have a definitive answer, but from what he wrote on the page, I couldn't help but wonder, did the abuse happen when he was roughly the same age as Maddox? Why would you even wonder that? That means you don't even know. Because you're saying basically you're almost trying to pinpoint that this abuse happened at the age of Maddox, of his son. That's what you're trying to do. So let me see. I couldn't help but wonder, did the abuse happen when he was roughly the same age as Maddox? Did becoming a biological father dislodge those buried memories of his childhood abuse? And did he worry that he was somehow fated to do to his son the same monstrous things that had been done to him? So now you're accusing Twitch of having thoughts of doing the same abuse to his son? Woman, you're sick. Like, you're a sick person. Why would you even think that? He didn't write that. You're making that up as you go. You're making up that as you go. And did he worry that he would somehow fated to do the same to his son? Why would you write that in a book? Why would you write in a book these sick things? Like, this is coming from your mind. You're a pedo at heart. Why would you write that? Why would you say, let me go back to the top. I couldn't help but wonder, did the abuse happen when he was roughly the same age as Maddox? Did becoming a biological father dislodge those buried memories of his childhood abuse? And did he worry that he would somehow fated to do the same to his son? The same monstrous things that had been done to him. Those are your thoughts. That's not his. You're putting those thoughts on that man. That's wrong. He goes on to say, what I can't understand is Stephen sat quietly at one of our mutual friends who had been sexually abused as a youngster by an adult figure whom they unabashedly loved, shared the details of the abuse and the difficulties they had reconciling the gall and the guardians. Stephen was sympathetic and supportive, as always, but he never let on that he might be able to relate to the horrors. So let me get this straight. So while you're talking about his journal, things you're assuming. For some reason, now you're trying to find stories that you've witnessed. This is getting crazy, guys. Getting crazy. Let me read that again. Goes on and says, what I can't understand is Stephen sat quietly as one of our mutual friends. So basically they had a mutual friend who had been sexually abused as a youngster by an adult figure, right? Whom they unabashedly loved, shared the details of the abuse and the difficulties they had reconciling the gall with the guardian. Stephen was sympathetic and supportive, as always, but he never let on that he might be able to relate to the horrors. So she's kind of reminiscent of an old story and trying to put two to two together. But it was there in his journal pages, not spelled out explicitly, but expressed in so many words and doodled. She's lying. She just said, but it was there in his journal pages, not spelled out explicitly, but expressed in so many words and doodles. She's making up this story, guys, because it's not in no journal. Number one, you know, I'm looking through this book. I don't see no journal posted. You know, if you're going to write a book, Allison, it is good practice to take a picture of the journal and publish that in the book as proof that there was a journal. There's no proof that there was a journal. You're making it up as you go, right? But it was there in his journal pages, not spelled out explicitly, but expressed in so many words and doodles that Stephen might have killed himself because he thought he was protecting us from an even more horrifying act he thought he might be capable of. So now she's basically saying that Stephen's journal suggests he was trying to kill himself to avoid hurting his son, Maddox, in the same manner in which he was allegedly SA'd. This is a crazy concocted story she's putting together. So basically she's saying that Stephen Twitch Boss was a pedophile in the making. That's basically what she's saying. So basically she's saying that Stephen Twitch Boss was a pedophile, and these are his thoughts that he was fighting with in secret in his journal. In other words, hey, he was touched when he was a child, and he was concerned about, damn, I might end up doing this to my son. That's basically what it's portraying here. It says Stephen might have killed himself because he thought he was protecting us from an even more horrifying act he thought he might be capable of. So she's basically saying that Twitch thought in his mind that he was capable of SAing his son, Maddox. Allison is a wicked woman, bro. That's wicked because that's her thoughts. She's making that up. All right. So it goes on and it says, Stephen's decision to take his life made his death a profoundly difficult and complex situation. I felt abandoned, betrayed by the person I trusted the most. Wow. Man, this woman is cold, bro. How dare you? How dare you say you felt abandoned and betrayed? Betrayed? So strong words. Betrayed. I thought you're all about mental health. How could you say you felt abandoned and betrayed? You're not really having no empathy for this man then. This is crazy. Stephen's decision to take his life made his death a profoundly difficult and complex situation. I felt abandoned, betrayed by the person I trusted the most, the one person in the world who had my best interests at heart, always. So that means when Twitch died, she ain't even care, because in her mind, she felt betrayed. In her mind. You see? In her mind, she felt betrayed. And she looked at Twitch as if though he's a pedophile. That's how she saw him. Because of some nonsense she claimed he wrote in a journal somewhere. That's what she's saying. Let's see what else we got. Okay. Okay, complex situation. She felt like she was abandoned. Okay. All right. He had my back. Yeah, he really did. I know he hurt me. But I also know he loved me. I had trusted him with every ounce of my being. And in the end, he betrayed that trust by disappearing on me. Wow. She's basically victim shaming. She's victim shaming at this point. She's literally blaming this man for being dead. I had trusted him with every ounce of my being. And in the end, he betrayed that trust by disappearing on me. He had broken his vows in the most screw you way. Wow. My goodness, bro. This woman is a true bitch. Like, that is disgusting what she just said right there, bro. And to think, she's out here claiming that she's a part of these organizations for mental health awareness and all this other stuff. And that's how she feels. That's disgusting. And she's not being investigated for murder? Listen to how cold-hearted this woman is. No wonder she never cried. She never loved him, guys. What she's expressing is pure hate. She never loved this man. She said, I trusted him with every ounce of my being. And in the end, he betrayed that trust by disappearing on me. He had broken his vows in the most screw you way. The way that Stephen loved us was so big, so his S word came with a staggering grief tax. The grandeur, the love, the greater the grief. I come to view bereavement as the non-negotiable cost of losing someone you cherish. But as I dealt with this detritus of Stephen's life, it begins to feel as if the price of having loved him might literally and emotionally bankrupt me. I mean, this woman is selfish, man. Like I haven't heard anything good yet. It's like everything is negative. Like what about what you did to Twitch? You're worrying about yourself too much, bankrupting you and all this other junk. I retrieved his laptop and his cell phone and scrolled through his history. See, remember I told y'all that when that man died, they're going to go through his things, and she always wanted to do that. She says, I retrieved his laptop and his phone and scrolled through his histories. I read his journals. The mere act of snooping felt disloyal. So you admit to snooping through the man's stuff. You admitted it. You admit to snooping through his stuff. The mere act of snooping felt disloyal because in all our years together, Stephen had never given me a single reason not to trust him. So wait a minute. So this man is dead. And now that he's dead, you don't trust him? You're victim shaming. You accuse him of being a pedophile. You accused him of wanting to S.A. Maddox. You're sick. Like, the man is dead, and you're looking for something to blame him. No wonder you made this book. You lied about everything. You're just finding a reason to make him bad because you never liked him. Listen. The feds need to investigate Allison Holker, guys. I'm telling you, this woman is a narcissist and she's evil. I haven't heard anything good yet. Nothing good. She goes on and she says, Stephen had never given me a single reason not to trust him. What was I hoping to find? Anything that would have made his S word makes sense. In other words, she was looking for something to justify why he took his life. She wanted it to make sense. Had there been other women, men, a rumor was circulating that Stephen was gay. So I looked for evidence of that. Was he being blackmailed, stalked? Now, think about these things, guys. Think about the things that she's writing in this book. This is crazy because you know what's going on, guys? You know why she wrote this in a book? She was watching my videos. Because I'm the one that put out information that suggested maybe Stephen Twitch Boss was in the alternative life. Because we brought out a lot of tapes, a lot of material that is very, very damning that suggests there's a possibility. That's why she said rumors. What rumors? Who was spreading rumors? Where online could you find rumors of this? Nowhere but my platform. She been watching my videos, y'all. She been watching my videos. So it's amazing that she was out here literally looking for stuff. She says, what I was hoping to find, anything that would have made anything, wait, where we at? Anything that would have made his taking his life, the S word, make sense. Had there been other women, men. So she's accusing him of possibly being with another woman or men. This is his wife, the widow. A rumor was circulating that Stephen was gay. So I looked for evidence of that. Was he being blackmailed, stalked? Again, why is she writing this, guys? Because she allegedly killed him or had something to do with his murder. That's why she put, was he being blackmailed, stalked? You got to put it together, guys. Because she's confessing right in the book. I had always considered us great communicators, but I would discover that there was an awful lot of him, a lot about him that I didn't know. Now think about it. They've been married for like more than 9 years. How you don't know a lot about him? That's crazy. Right? So it says, I had always considered us great communicators, but I would discover that there was an awful lot about him that I didn't know. His search history contained weed websites, magic, mushroom websites. Now think about this, guys. These are the same things that she alleged she found in a shoebox. So now she's saying that she searched his computer history, right? And it contained weed websites, magic mushroom websites, and inquiries such as, do my kids love my nanny more than me? I think this woman is sick mentally. To be literally searching this man's history for dirt. It's like she's on her own investigation rather than the feds investigating her. Why can't we search her phone records, her laptop, her email to find out what she was doing? She's busy searching a dead man's search histories on his computer. If it was such an incriminating thing, why would he have it there? He'll just erase his history. Or private browse. If he wanted to really keep something a secret, why would it be on his computer? Come on, people. Why would you have your search history visible if you're doing something you don't want nobody to see? That don't make no sense. You would want to hide it, so you would private browse. But she wants you to believe that she found websites that deals with weed. Who searches up weed in 2025? Who does that? Well, I want to go to a website so I can search up some weed. Who does that in 2025? She's making this up, guys. Magic mushrooms, websites, and inquiries such as, do my kids love my nanny more than me? How do I become a better father? These are the searches she claimed she's finding. How do I become a better father? Wasn't he a good father already? Didn't she say that? How Twitch was a great father? So why is she bringing up that his search history had searches for how? Where is it? Where is it at? Where did it go? Okay. How do I become a better father? Is one of his searches. How do I communicate with my kids? But he always did that. He always communicated with his kids, and he did it very well. So why is she making this a negative thing? So what if he met? So what? Let's just say hypothetically he had a search there that said, oh, how can I be a better father? What's so bad about that? What's so bad about that? What's so bad about searching how could I be a better father? There's nothing wrong with that. You know? Think about that. How do you do that? Let's see what we got. Da, 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 da. Do my kids love my nanny more than me? Like, what kind of sick stuff is that? Does that make sense? Like, she literally paint this guy out to be a sick person. Like, this is not upholding his legacy, guys. This is her trying to destroy Twitch's legacy. She literally tried to make this man out to be a pedophile. She literally basically saying he wanted to S-aid his kids. Or he thought, well, let me take my life because I'm trying to protect my family from the horrors of what I could do to my kids. What? Why would you publish that garbage? That's sick, man. You know? Let me see. What else we got? So she's basically telling you about these searches that he did, right? Which is not a crime. Anybody can do searches on how do I communicate with my kids. There's no crime in that. Anybody can search how do I communicate with my children. To go on to say, the question struck me as so bizarre because I considered him an amazing dad. So what's the problem? Because he have some searches of how do I be a better father, it's a crime now? If you considered him to be an amazing dad, why are you making a big deal about it? You're literally reaching for things that are not there. And that's bad. You know? See, what happens is Allison needs to be investigated by the FBI. They need to really bring her in for questioning and examine her search history, phone records, emails, to find out what's really going on, man, because it looks like Twitch was murdered. That man didn't take his life. I don't believe that one bit. So she says, I considered him an amazing dad. However, whatever happened to him as a child, he never could get past it. But what do you mean, whatever happened to him as a child? He never said that in any journal. You're lying. You're lying because earlier you said, where is that section? Okay, where is it? I'm not sure where it was, but I'm gonna have to get me a little yellow highlighter or something along those lines, because what she basically said is something along the lines of, it wasn't really stated what happened to him, but he kind of doodled whatever it was. So it's nothing that's been confirmed. I'm trying to find out exactly where it was, because I know it was somewhere down here somewhere. I'm looking for the word doodled. Got to get me a highlighter. Okay, where is it? Where is it? The way this thing is written is just to make Twitch look like a monster. This makes him look like an animal. This doesn't make him look good. This is designed to destroy his name. And this is coming from her. That's what makes it bad. Anyway, I'm gonna move on from that, because there's just a lot. There's a lot to pretty much take in with just this page. It's like there's so much going on there, man. It's like so she said that I considered him an amazing dad. Whatever happened to him as a child, he never could get past it. She's making that up. She's making that up as she go. How could you say whatever happened to him? You don't even know what happened to him. You're making it up. Because you said whatever happened to him. So you don't even know what happened to him. That's why you're saying whatever happened to him as a child, he never could get past it. You're trying to convince us that something happened to him that didn't happen to him. I could read between the lines. I know how to read. You're making that up as you go. Nothing ever happened to him. You understand? Oh, the section that I was looking for is on the previous page where it says, but he never let on that he might be able to relate to the horrors, but it was there in his journal pages, not spelled out explicitly, but expressed in so many words and doodles. That's not a confirmation of anything. You're making it up as you go. You're lying to the people. You're lying. So when she says, whatever happened to him as a child, he never could get past it, she's lying. Because there's nothing in his journal that suggests that. You're making it up. You said it wasn't spelled out that way. That it was basically said in so many words. No, if it's not written, we cannot take it. Because you're just making it appear like something he said. That's like if we're having a conversation and you say, look, I cannot stand you, man. And then I interpret that by saying, well, what you were really saying is X, Y, and Z. I can't do that. If you didn't say it, I cannot add to it. And that's what she's doing. She's adding to things that we don't even have no proof that he even said. Right? She says, it caused him tremendous shame and guilt. No matter how much success he achieved or how beloved he was, it was as if were a 7-year-old boy trapped in trauma. So now she's trying to say that Twitch was a 7-year-old boy that was trapped in his trauma. And he was so ashamed and guilty. Like, she's really painting this man out to be a pedophile who was struggling with thoughts of abusing his own children. Who does this, man? Who writes this type of evil and think this is good? And this is the same woman that was arrested for public intoxication and disorderly conduct. I bet you she ain't talk about that in the book. This is nasty work, man. So, let's see what else we got. No matter how much success he achieved or how beloved he was, it was as if he were a 7-year-old trapped in trauma. So basically what she's saying is, no matter how successful he was, no matter how much money he made, no matter how beloved he was like a 7-year-old trapped in trauma. Stephen's search history revealed that in summer 2022, he had looked up a S-word hotline. This woman is full of shit. She's lying. She's literally lying. Just don't make no sense. So his search history dates back all the way to 2022. Right? So what? Why would he have that in his search history? So she's telling you guys that Stephen's search history revealed that in summer 2022, he had looked up a S-word, you know what the S-word is, hotline. I could find no evidence on his phone that he made the call. So now she wants us to believe that Stephen was searching hotlines for people that take their life. I don't believe that at all. She said, I could find no evidence of his phone, on his phone, that he made the call. I'm sure he felt a lot of shame for even having sought out the number. I mean, she's making this up as she go. Why would he feel shame for seeking out a number? I'm telling you, Allison Holker need to be investigated for murder. If the feds are watching this live stream, you need to reopen the case of Stephen Twitch Boss. The man was murdered. This is the signs of a guilty person who is trying to tarnish and destroy a man's name by any means necessary. This is not that of a loving wife. It's not. This is horrible, man. She says, a S-word note written on pages torn from a yellow pad was found near his body. Addressed to me, our kids, and his family. It was terrified to read the multi-page letter. But notice, nobody got a picture of this letter. Up to now, there's no pictures, there's no evidence. Normally, when people take their life, right, and they have a real S-word note, they normally have the note and they show you the note. They normally show it to you. You see a picture of it, and we could literally go online and we could read the note that was left behind. But for Twitch, somehow, some way, nobody have access to this note. How convenient, right? Nobody have access. So how do we know it's true? A S-word note written on pages torn from a yellow pad was near his body, addressed me, our kids, and his family. I was terrified. I was terrified to read the multi-page letter. So the cops gave you the letter? How did you get it? Were you at the hotel when he died, before he died? Like, were you there? How you know? Wouldn't that be in police custody? Wouldn't police keep that information classified? Why would they give it to you? Why would they give the spouse the letter that was at a crime scene? Then that mean they had to give you back the gun too. See, you're not making any sense, Allison. Why would law enforcement give you back the letter that was at the crime scene and give it to you? Then that mean they gave you back your gun because it is alleged that the gun he used was your gun. Why would they give you back that letter? That don't even make no sense. They keep that as evidence. So how you got access to it? That's a good question. How does Allison have access to a letter at a crime scene? How could she have access? That means somebody's working with her in law enforcement, because that means that they gave her a copy, because normally that type of evidence stay within the file for the case of the death. That letter doesn't get given. They don't give it to the wife. Why would they give the evidence of a letter to the wife? Why would they do that? That's incompetence. Like, who does that? They didn't even investigate the wife. So why would you give the wife the letter that was left at the crime scene? That means somebody gave her a copy. Somebody from the inside gave her a copy because she's talking about it in the book. So this is nasty work. They need to reopen the case of Stephen Twitch Boss. You know? They need to reopen the case. Let's see what else we got. A S-word note written on page, torn from a yellow pad, was near his body. Addressed me, our kids, and his family. I was terrified to read the multi-page letter. I assumed it would solve the mystery of why he killed himself. And I was apprehensive about knowing his unvarnished truth. But now, this is what you have to get from that. She says, I assumed it would solve the mystery of why he killed himself. See, it's a mystery. And that's what I'm trying to solve by reading the clues written herein. She knows it's a mystery. Now, she believed that Twitch killed himself because he didn't want to essay his own son. That's crazy, nasty work. I assumed it would solve the mystery of why he killed himself, and I was apprehensive about knowing the unvarnished truth. I think most people assume a S-word note exists to be the confession before the final unburdening. But in Stephen's case, it left us with more questions than closure. It was beautiful, but he spoke, what's this word? Let me get the pronunciation of this word, because I need me a damn highlighter. I'll keep losing where I'm at. Because the text is small. Where the heck was I? Literally lost where I was. Okay. Right here. Oh, all right. I see where I was. All right, let me do this real quick. right.
Elliptically.
Elliptically. What is the meaning of this word? Elliptically, of speech or writing, using or involving, especially so as to be difficult to understand. Well, if it's difficult to understand, how could you talk about a note that you can't even understand? I didn't even understand what that word actually means. So then how could you understand that how could you assume this? See, everything she's talking about, she's making up. She's making up all of these different things because remember when TMZ dropped the news? When TMZ dropped the news, they said that they found a note which allude to past challenges. That's all she's doing. She's playing on what was already released. Even TMZ couldn't get a hold of what Twitch was saying because nobody knows. So why would they give Allison that letter when she's a suspect? They always investigate the spouse that is living in a case like this. So why would they give her a note found at the body? Why would they do that? That don't make no sense. This doesn't make any sense, y'all. Why would they give her a letter, but not investigate her? Didn't she say she find drugs? Well, how come she ain't called the police? I don't care what nobody say, guys. In my opinion, she had something to do with that man dying, bro. I know what I'm talking about. There's a lot of murderers that are amongst us that kill people and they go about their normal lives. You see them at work every day and you think this coworker of yours is this good, decent person, but no, they're a murderer. They just covered it up. You know? But this situation here is crazy. Where we at? So it goes on and says, and in circles, same as in his journal entries, even in the final moments, he couldn't give shape to the demons that had defeated him. So now she's saying that demons defeated him. This is not a wife, man. This is a damn enemy, man. Like, she's the ops. Like, she was never a wife, guys. I haven't heard anything good yet. This woman been targeting this man the whole marriage. And now that he dead, she's just crapping on him now. You know? Let me see what else we got. Even in his final moments, he couldn't give shape to the demons that had defeated him. He couldn't express what he was going through that had siphoned all his hope. Instead, he expressed so much love and shame, a word he mentioned multiple times. It's like what she's doing here is she's basically saying, by him expressing love that was his way of hiding the shame. So basically what she's saying is all the stuff you saw in the public with Twitch was all a cover. Like, in other words, he really was a dark man with sick pedophile tendencies. This woman is evil because she's making it up as she go. You know? So it goes on and it says, he expressed so much love and shame, a word he mentioned multiple times. One sentence stuck out. Something about a little boy. He was still the little boy. He couldn't get past the little boy who had been abandoned and shamed. So now she's trying to make it look like he was stuck in a little boy's body and he was abandoned and ashamed. How? He had a loving mother. He wasn't abandoned. Like, what are you talking about? Abandoned and ashamed? It was strangely comforting to see his scratchy writing. I could picture him holding the pen in the weird way that he did. Not like a chopstick resting between his right index and middle fingers and thumb, but with all four fingers gripping it like he was stirring a thick boiling liquid in a pot. How many hours had I spent watching him bent over a journal like it was a cauldron, filling page after page with his. This is not her handwriting, guys. This is not her speaking. This is not her. She did not write this book, guys. I've heard all of her interviews. She's very repetitive with certain words and the tone. I don't see it in the writings in this book. She did not write this book. This book is ghostwritten. Just off of what I'm reading, this is not Allison's thoughts. Somebody else interfered with this. This is not her. She did not write this, guys. She did not put pen to pad and wrote down these thoughts. And shout out to Exandra for the support. Appreciate you supporting the work. Allison did not write this book. This is not her writings. She didn't write this. She never used these words. You never see her. Listen, if you write a book, it should sound the way you talk. If I'm writing a book, it's going to be the way you see me conduct myself when I do my shows. I'm not going to use a bunch of big words that's going to have people checking dictionaries and looking them up. You know, I'm not going to do that because that's not how I am. You know, I keep everything simple and practical for anybody to understand. So when you study Allison's vocabulary when she communicate via interviews, she don't sound nothing like this book. She didn't write this book. This book was written by AI, because with AI, all you got to do is just put what you want and it'll write you a whole book. Literally, it'll write you a whole book. Either that or you had other writers that kind of put a story together to make it dramatic for the viewer. But everything in this book thus far is conjecture and made up scenarios with no there's nothing to substantiate these claims. Like, there's no proof, no receipts, there's nothing. She literally made Twitch out to be a pedophile. Basically saying he wanted to S-aid his own son, so he took himself out to protect the family. That's sick. That don't even make no sense. You know? So let me see where we at. Instead, he expressed so much love and shame, a word he mentioned multiple times. One sentence stuck out, something about a little boy. He was still the little boy. He couldn't get past the little boy who had been abandoned and ashamed. It was strangely comforting to see his scratchy writing, and I could picture him holding the pen in the weird way that he did, not like a chopstick. Oh, I read all of that already. Okay, I read that. How many hours had I spent watching him bend over a journal like it was a conundrum, filling page after page with his hilariously dense writing. The pad from which the pages were ripped contained the start of another letter suggesting he intended to write each of us individual notes. So now she's trying to make it seem like when they found the letter at the motel, it looked like he wanted to write separate notes. And she's trying to make this into a storytelling thing, like Twitch was writing separate letters to each, to her, to Maddox, to Wesley. That's what she's saying right here. This is craziness, man. From the pad which the pages were ripped contained the start of another letter, suggesting, so she's making this up, suggesting he intended to write each of us individual notes. This is what she's saying. She's making that up. But he never got further than the salutation. I can only guess that he became overwhelmed trying to express his deep and abiding love for the family he had created. Why would he express any love if he taken himself out? That don't make no sense. If he loved his family, he wouldn't be checking out. I'm telling you, Allison need to be investigated, guys. I promise you, man. She need to be investigated. If the feds investigate Allison Holker, they're going to find dirt. That's why she sold a house and bought a new house for $5 million. That's why she changed her name right after Twitch died. That's why she went on to do business contracts right after he died. That's why she never shed a tear, because she never cared. Twitch was murdered. He was murdered. He was murdered, guys. So it goes on and it says, okay. I can only guess that he became overwhelmed trying to express his deep and abiding love for the family he had created. The idea of saying an individual goodbye was too painful, as evidenced by the dried teardrops on the page. Now, think about what she's saying. By the dried teardrops on the page. How could she know that there are dried teardrops on the page? She made that up. That's AI. That's AI. It's to make the story sound good. Like, in other words, while he's writing, he's crying and tears are falling on the page. How do you know he did that with tears? Where did she get that from? Yeah, it's like a dream, an illusion that she's just making up as she go. It's not real, guys. So, let me see. Those teardrops made me think of his state of mind that last night he spent with us. It is especially tough for me to look back on that evening because there are so many things I wish I had done differently. Things you wish you would have done differently? You mean like not arguing with him? You mean like not fussing and fighting, the things you don't talk about? If I only had asked more penetrating questions about where he had gone and the lie he was referring to. What lie he was referring to? There had to have been one thing I could have asked that would have uncorked his bottle up emotions and released an explanation for his strange behavior. So now she's saying that he had strange behavior and it was bottled up. A team of crisis counselors met with me and the kids at the house, and one of the things I remember them saying is that people who die by S word often have had at least one failed attempt before they are successful. So now she's alluding to the possibility of Twitch trying to take his life beforehand, but was unsuccessful. This woman is evil, guys. Anybody that is still following Allison Holker at this point need to stop following her. This woman is evil. This is crazy, man. The FBI need to get involved, man. I'm telling you, if y'all get involved, y'all gonna find what y'all need to find. Somebody need to reopen this case. Somebody need to reopen this case. This woman is evil. Everything we read so far, guys, have been nothing but lies. Nothing but lies. Nothing but lies, guys. So let's see what else we got. A team of crisis counselors met with me and the kids at the house, and one of the things I remember them saying is that people who die by S word often have had at least one failed attempt before they are successful. The hair on the back of my neck stood up when I heard that. Had Stephen left the house the night before he disappeared with the intent of killing himself only to talk himself out of it? Do you see what she's doing? She's basically alluding to Twitch contemplating taking his life prior, but was unsuccessful or talked himself out of it. This is crazy. All right. All right. Was the lie that had not been to the dispensary at all? Wait, let me see. I think I went ahead of myself. The hair on the back of my neck stood up when I heard that. Had Stephen left the house the night before he disappeared with the intent of killing himself only to talk himself out of it? Was the lie that he had not been to the dispensary at all? That he didn't expect to be around for the Christmas tree trimming? Or had he been lying to me as a form of self-sabotage? So now she's accusing him of lying to her. Ahead of his funeral, I made a staggering discovery that would cause me to wonder if he had been hiding some appalling behavior from me to convince himself that he was a terrible person whom we were all better off without. My goodness, bro. This woman is evil, man. You know, it's like the more I read this chapter, I'm reading chapter 13, which is an interesting number because that number deals with death. It deals with the day he died. He died December 13th. It's a Freemason number too. Did you hear what this woman just said, guys? Man. It's crazy because I'm reading this stuff and it's like the more I read it, the more I don't like Allison, fam. She's saying some cruel things, man. Let me read that again. Or had been lying to me as a form of self-sabotage ahead of his funeral, I made a staggering discovery that would cause me to wonder if he had been hiding some appalling behavior from me to convince himself that he was a terrible person whom we were all better off without. That don't sound like a murderer? She sound like a murderer. A person, a terrible person whom we were all better off without. That sounds cold. My stylist and close friend Lisa was helping me pick out Steven's final outfit. You ever wonder why she didn't just go buy one? Why would you pick something? Because that's not what you said. You said you were cleaning out the closet. Because remember, you were selling the house. You said you were cleaning out the closet. Now it's to picking out a final outfit. My stylist and close friend Lisa was helping me pick out Steven's final outfit. It didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because he was going to be cremated. Cremated. So they cremated Twitch. They cremated Twitch, guys. Do the family know about this? This is crazy, bro. Let me read that again. My stylist and close friend Lisa was helping me pick out Steven's final outfit. It didn't really matter in the grand scheme of things because he was going to be cremated. But I wanted him to look as nice as possible for his family for the open casket wake. Do the family know that Stephen Twitch Boss was cremated? Because that's what's in the book. Maybe there's more as we go. So it says sneakers were an obsession of his. Stephen had over 100 pairs, including a few never worn, that still contain their sales tags. I started sifting through the boxes, looking for the perfect pair to carry him into the afterlife. What I found was a lot more than shoes. There were Ziploc bags of psychedelic mushrooms. She wanted you to believe that. Psychedelic mushrooms. Some of the bags were full, some were half emptied. A few contained only 1 or 2 mushrooms. There were substances that I had to look up on my phone, but you didn't call the cops. What if all these drugs was her drugs that she been hiding? She says she had to look these things up on the phone, but she ain't called the police. How could you find drugs? And then again, what if these mushrooms and pills or whatever, what if that was some sort of herbal treatment or some sort of something that he did to perfect his mental health? I mean, she's trying to allude that it's drugs. Doesn't make no sense. Some of the bags were full, some were half emptied. A few contained only 1 or 2 mushrooms. There were other substances that I had to look up on my phone. It was a cornucopia of drugs. I was stunned. Drugs. Now, she says drugs, but she didn't call the cops. That's a red flag, because that means you were in possession of drugs, Miss Holker, and you never reported this to the authorities. That would make it a crime scene, because you found drugs that should have been, I guess, given to law enforcement for investigation, but you got rid of it. That don't make no sense. I literally could not believe what I was seeing. The cognitive dissonance I experienced was unlike anything I have ever known. Until that moment, I had zero knowledge that Stephen used any drugs besides marijuana. Rummaging around, I found sickening surprises in almost every other shoebox. So now she wants you to believe that every other shoebox that she was looking in had drugs. But she never called the police. Never called his parents, never called his mom, family, none. Didn't even take no pictures. These are lies, people. She's making up these things as she go. These are things she had in the house. She says, I literally could not believe what I was seeing. The cognitive dissonance I experienced was unlike anything I've ever known. Until that moment, I had zero knowledge that Stephen used any drugs besides marijuana. Rummaging around, I found sickening surprises in almost every other shoebox, mushrooms and cash and technical knives and pills that I couldn't identify. I even found pills in an emptied out Altoids, tin, which really freaked me out. He'd been hiding his use practically in plain sight, and any of these substances or knives could have been easily accessed by the kids. She's lying. She's lying. I don't believe her. This woman is evil, fam. I don't believe this because remember I talked about this in my investigative videos where I said that there's no way Twitch would keep something in a shoebox so readily accessible to children, which means your children could get. That's like keeping a loaded gun in the closet in a shoebox. Any of you that have your Second Amendment in your house know that you have to have that in a very safe place. If you keep a firearm in the house, it gotta be in a very safe place, but also a place where you can gain access to it very quickly. Sometimes it's good to have at least 3 locations where you have a Second Amendment. You know, one place could be a closet in a particular area that you can gain access to, not in a box where you could just open it up and boom, but something that you could literally get to with a code or a fingerprint, and you can get inside real fast. That's in case you had to hide and gather your firearm in case something happened or family members go in that room and they're able to be armed. Another place would be somewhere near where you sleep. So that if something happened, you could pop up and grab your Second Amendment, take care of business. And another is just for safekeeping. But she want you to believe that these drugs were in a shoebox, basically readily accessible to children. I said this in videos, that there's no way Twitch would do that if he loved his kids. There's no way. I mentioned that in my videos, that there's no way that Twitch would do that. No drug user would keep drugs in plain sight, knowing their kids can OD on these drugs. She's lying. She's lying, guys. So it says he'd been hiding his use practically in plain sight, and any of these substances or knives could have been easily accessed by the kids. She's lying. That's again to paint a terrible picture of a horrible father who was negligent in keeping drugs and various other things in front of the kids. She says, I know for a fact that Stephen would never have wanted our kids to stumble upon the drugs. He'd never intentionally put them in danger, but the sheer volume of drugs hidden in a variety of places suggests to me that Stephen had lost track of his stockpile. This woman is something else, bro. Those of you that read books all the time, right? How many of you that read books, this is how you be when you really read a book. It's like you read the book, you could kind of envision what's going on, and it's just like, you're like, what the fuck did she just say, bro? Like, did she just say that? And it pisses you off. Man, this is just bad, man. She literally just said, but the sheer volume of drugs hidden in a variety of places suggested to me that Stephen had lost track of his stockpile. So she's saying that Stephen had so much drugs, he lost track. But his autopsy said there was no drugs in his system at the time of death or alcohol. So Twitch was not on no drugs, as she's saying, because drugs would be in your system. She's lying. She's lying. She's lying on this man. Stockpile. His mind was so mumbled that he couldn't keep his stash straight. If it's a stash, it wouldn't be in the closet, Allison. You're not making no sense. With the amount of money that he had, he didn't have to keep it there. He could have kept it elsewhere. Twitch could have rented out an entirely different place where he can go and do his drugs in peace and not keep nothing in the house. She's lying, man. She's lying, guys. She's a real narcissist. Right? So it goes on and it says, his mind was so mumbled that he couldn't keep his stash straight, just as he may have been struggling to keep his two personas, Twitch and Steven, straight. So basically she's saying that Steven and Twitch were two different personalities. This woman is the devil, bro. This woman is evil. Straight evil. She's basically saying that Twitch was struggling to keep his two personal personas, Twitch and Steven, straight. When he wrote the note vowing to give up weed, I wonder if he really meant all the drugs, but he hadn't been ready to own up to everything that he was ingesting. But there was no drugs found in his system, Allison. You're a liar. You're a liar. If that man was on drugs the way you're painting him to be, drugs would be found in his system. Because why would a man go off himself without getting some of them drugs? I mean, if I'm going to check out, might as well I get high at the same time. You're not making no sense, Allison. You need to be literally investigated and put in prison. They literally need to find you and put you in prison and investigate you. Right? I wonder if he really meant all the drugs. He hadn't been ready to own up to everything that he was ingesting. It was hard to decide which was more disconcerting, that he was a that he was self-medicating to such as extent, or that he didn't feel safe enough to confide in me about whatever was causing him such pain. These are just lies, man. Like she's just making this stuff up, man. He was so ashamed of his marijuana use. How could you say that? Like, how do you know he was ashamed? Like, I can't imagine that he wanted me to discover that he was using harder drugs. Either his mental state had seriously deteriorated, or I didn't know my husband nearly as well as I thought I did. Wow. The more I read this, man, the more I know Twitch was murdered. This woman never loved him. Never did. He was so ashamed of his marijuana use. I can't imagine that he wanted me to discover that he was using harder drugs. Notice what she said, harder drugs. Either his mental state had seriously deteriorated, or I didn't know my husband nearly as well as I thought I did. While scrolling through his texts, I discovered that not only had Stephen arranged a meeting with a drug dealer while we were in Laguna Beach for our magical anniversary weekend. Did y'all see this? Did y'all hear what she just said? Remember I said that Twitch may have been going to the hotel to meet up with someone? She put in the book, where is it? She says, while scrolling through his text, I discovered that not only had Stephen arranged a meeting with a drug dealer. How do you know? How do you know he's a drug dealer? How do you know he's a drug dealer? How could she know the person is a drug dealer by scrolling through his text? Listen, to the feds, man, the FBI, listen, guys. Y'all can't see a crime? Y'all can't see that this is criminal? How could she go through a man's text and conclude that he was contacting a drug dealer? How could she know that? If he was contacting a drug dealer, Allison, why don't you give law enforcement the contact of who he was communicating with? You see how I just did that? If Twitch was communicating with a drug dealer, why don't Allison give law enforcement the number of the person that he was communicating with, guys? Come on. Remember, I talked about this in my video, that Allison is the one that is communicating with a drug dealer? Because she's the one that looked like she's high all the time. She's the one that got arrested for public intoxication and disorderly conduct. You see? This is crazy, man. So it says, where we at? While scrolling through his texts, I discovered that not only had Stephen arranged a meeting with a drug dealer while we were in Laguna Beach on our magical anniversary weekend, but he also bought more that Sunday night when he texted me all freaked out. So now she's saying that Twitch bought drugs during their anniversary. This woman is airing out so much dirt, so much evil about Twitch. Why she ain't signing the NDA? And she's making this all up, guys. I don't believe none of this whatsoever. I know she's making this stuff up, but it's sick. It's crazy. Okay. I replayed that weird conversation we had. It did not escape my notice that the hotel he would check into the next day had a tree theme. Was the tree emoji meant to tell me that he had ended up there intending to commit self-harm? Well, first of all, you made a terrible error in your book, Allison. You put hotel. He was at a motel. It's a big difference. You put hotel. but he was at a motel. This is AI. AI wrote this book. AI wrote this book. So it goes on and it says, was the tree emoji meant to tell me that he had ended up there intended to commit self-harm? Was he in the throes of a mental breakdown? Was he making himself look like a messed up person so he could justify the decision he had already made to kill himself? Who talks like this as a wife, man? Like, you sound fucking evil, man. Like, damn. This woman sounds sick, bro. This don't sound like no wife, bro. Like, this sound like a murderer who's literally turning this murder into a story that they created. Or was he just really high? Let me go back a little bit. Was he making himself look like a messed up person so he could justify the decision he had already made to kill himself, or was he just really high? I felt inadequate as a wife and petrified as a parent. What if our kids face similar struggles? What do you mean, what if your kids face similar struggles and don't feel comfortable confiding in me? That question left me with a terrible quandary. I had to decide, how much could I protect the man I still deeply love while also looking out for my kids? Those who approach us in the public to praise Stephen, or who post their cherished memories of him online while tagging us, likely haven't considered this. Even though he made them seem as loved, his S word taking his life, you know what that mean? Cause unimaginable pain to me and my children. I harbored his secrets, not spilling the whole story to a soul, even as people spoke to me about Stephen in the most glowing terms. People didn't know the whole scoop. How could they? And yet, as the months went on, it started to feel more and more dishonest not to acknowledge the signpost, excuse me. However, feel more and more dishonest not to acknowledge. Oh, I already read that part. However, hidden from view that might have led Stephen to that roadside motel. Now she says motel. Now it puts motel when it said hotel. That roadside motel just down the street from our house. Now think about it. Why would he take an Uber down the street if it's right there near the house? Like the motel is close to the house, guys. He can literally walk there. Why would you take a Uber? You could walk there. It's within walking distance. I did the Google Maps showing their house and the motel. It's within walking distance. I would never let anyone talk badly about Stephen, but it is worth dwelling only on his best qualities, only on what he chose to show the world. when there are so many other potentially suffering in silence as he did. I want to give an honest accounting of what was going on, not to blame or shame anybody, but to help other people who might see themselves or a loved one in Stephen. If you started seeing the signs I've described in someone else, ask questions, be persistent. It can't hurt, and it just might save a life. Now, think about what she's doing here. She's like airing out Twitch, throwing dirt on his name, making him out to be a pedophile, all these other things. And then she's trying to use it as a teachable moment, as if though she's helping people. This is sick, man. After Stephen's death, I heard from the parents of NFL defense tackle Solomon Thomas, who lost their daughter, Solomon's biggest sister, to S-word in 2018. They reached out to offer their support, their sweet gestures harboring a sobering truth. I had become a member of a club to which nobody wants to belong. The Thomases, bless them, are among the small but sadly growing subset of people who've grappled with an unanswered question. How does a loved one make the leap from temporary pain to this permanent solution? In 2022, Stephen was one of 49,476 Americans to die by S-word, according to the Center of Disease Control and Prevention's National Center of Health Statistics, which you considered how many grieving loved ones each of those other 49,475 left behind. The scope of the suffering, the vast reach of the cripple effects become clearer. She did not write this, man. She did not write this. She didn't write this, guys. Allison did not write this book. Somebody else did, perhaps AI. This is not her vocabulary. It's not. Whether or not people want to acknowledge it, S-word, taking one's life, is part of the human condition. Wow, that's crazy. No, it's not. It's not a part of the human condition. We can't not talk about it. What do you mean we can't not talk about it? We can't not talk about it. We cannot not. No. These are errors. Picking up the pieces while upholding Stephen's legacy was exhausting. I was drained emotionally, physically, financially too. How could you be drained financially? That doesn't even make sense. Stephen nor I had grown up with money. Stephen nor I had grown up with money. We hadn't had the good life fortune to receive monetary support from our parents. As a result, we were united in our desire to give our children that luxury. We wanted them to have the leg up that we hadn't enjoyed. Building generational wealth was a priority for both of us. Creating and preserving assets to pass down to our kids was a regular topic conversation. We were intentional about it. Well, then why you sold the house? That could have been passed down to the kids. Why buy a house for $3 million or $2 million and then get a $5 million mansion? Like, it doesn't make no sense. Yeah, I got a lot more pages. I ain't reading all of that. I'll just read this page here and then I'm going to shut it down because this is just a lot. Okay. All right. I read that already. Okay. Creating and preserving assets to pass down to our kids was regular topic of conversations. We were intentional. Okay, I read all of that. In 2019, the same year, we bought the family house in Encino. I also purchased a home in Utah with the idea that one day Wesley would inherit it. In 2022, Stephen and I bought 2 properties in Palm Springs that one day would go to Maddox and I guess Zaya. The homes in Palm Springs needed work, which is why for much of 2022, I found myself making the 250-mile round trip drive to the desert 2 or 3 times a week to meet with contractors and oversee renovations. To my mild irritation, Stephen was disinterested in helping me. His heart just wasn't in it. Interior design had never been one of his strengths, so I didn't dwell much on his reluctance to get more involved. You don't see how she's making it seem like Twitch didn't have no interest in things that she wanted to do? I interpret his willingness to sit on the sidelines as a sign of his confidence in my ability to manage the projects. And it's another one of those realities that hit differently after Stephen's death. Did he not care about those houses because he knew he wasn't going to stick around to behold the finished products? That's crazy, man, that she would even say that. His apathy towards the renovations solidifies in my mind that he had been looking about leaving us for a while. The last couple of years that Stephen was alive, he had almost impatient about growing our financial portfolio. I had remembered so many times, so many conversations where I'd say, "What's the rush? We have years and years and years to build our assets." It's so clear to me in retrospect that he was doing all he could to set up for a secure future after he was gone. Yes, we were in good shape at the time of his S word, but what he didn't consider was the foundation that he had worked on so hard to build us would crumble after his death. So many of our assets went with him. Stephen's name, for example, was one of the property deeds for the Palm Springs houses. More than a year later, I was still married and bare revenue, red tape, as I sought to establish myself as a sole owner. So basically, she was getting all the paperwork to put everything in her name. And I remember she was going through this period of time where she was trying to focus on getting the assets and the money and everything in her name. And yeah, As I went through the process of acquiring a clear title, I was paying mortgages on both houses. So now she's blaming Twitch for the fact that she had to pay, which became a heavy burden once I was having to pay all the bills. I'll have to sell the properties that Stephen had assumed would one day be passed on to the littles. Now remember, I told you that the house should go to the kids. She's blaming Twitch for dying and saying she had to sell the house because of bills, but yet she ended up buying a $5 million house. Does that make sense, ladies and gentlemen? Think about that. She's lying. She's lying. This is crazy, man. Okay. I'll have to sell the properties that Stephen had assumed would one day be passed on to the littles. They are two investments that became liabilities with Stephen's death. And while I'm not scared of starting over, I know that was never Stephen's wish for me. If he had known how much of our hard-earned money would go to pay lawyer fees, to clean up mess he left me with, would it have made any difference? I'd like to believe it would have. Stephen left me with double the work, double the noise, double the hardships, double the confusion, and half the household earnings. It's a misconception that I inherit Stephen's wealth. So now she's basically saying that she didn't get no money, that she just had bills and problems. It's a misconception that I inherited Stephen's wealth. But you had time to buy a $5 million home? You bought a $5 million home. How you get that? Come on, man. Where we at? It's a misconception that I inherited Stephen's wealth. The reality is quite different. He had given away substantial sums of money to family and friends and spent recklessly on drugs and his weird art collection. So now she's calling his art collection weird, and she's saying that he spent all his money on drugs. How does she know that? This woman is literally destroying Twitch's name, bro. This is sad, man. So it goes on and it says, it's a misconception that I inherited Stephen's wealth. The reality is quite different. He had given away substantial sums of money to family, friends, and spent recklessly on drugs and his weird art collections. The tax bill that he left me with for the year had died. Wait, the tax bill that he left me with for the year he died was $1 million. I'm not sure who was more distressed, me or the accountant who had to deliver the news. So now she's saying that Twitch left the family in debt to $1 million in taxes owed and all this other mess. This is just sick, man. How could that be if y'all were with each other all those years? So for all those years, none of y'all was paying taxes, right? That's what you want us to believe? So let me get this straight. You were paying taxes, but he wasn't. Man. So The tax bill he left for me for the year he died was $1 million. I'm not sure who was more distressed, me or the accountant who had to deliver the news. Paying the debt depleted his accounts. This all came as a terrible surprise to me. We had always maintained separate bank accounts. Red flag, guys. Separate bank accounts. Right? We always maintain separate bank accounts. And I had been under the impression that the arrangement was working just fine. He managed his income and I managed mine. Notice they were separated, guys. I managed mine and we divided. Wait. They got some typos in the book. Supposed to be divided up the bills, but that's not what it is. Easy peasy, or so I thought. The truth, nothing was easy. I'm still jumping through endless bureaucrat hoops because Stephen didn't leave a will. Now she's focused on money. Stephen didn't leave a will. All I'm seeing is her showing her resentment for this man. She says Stephen didn't leave a will. He had started writing one at the suggestion of a friend who are financial advisors. The sticking point on getting it done was that Stephen had not legally adopted Wesley, which made it more complicated to designate her as an heir. Y'all can't see this? She was upset because Stephen didn't adopt Wesley to make her an heir. She was trying to make the man put his money for her elder daughter. This is crazy. I'm not going to get through all of this in this stream. Okay. Stephen didn't leave a will. He had started writing one at the suggestion of a friend who are financial advisors. The sticking point on getting it done was that Stephen had not legally adopted Wesley, which made it more complicated to designate her as an heir. Stephen felt uncomfortable formally writing Wesley biological father out of her life in a contract which she has a relationship with him. We decided to wait until Wesley became a legal adult before finalizing the paperwork. We weren't going anywhere. What's a few more years, we said. I had to file a petition in the Supreme Court of California in Los Angeles County, to prove that I was married to Stephen to be able to claim his half or our joint estate. She was after this man's money, guys. It was a technicality, but one that involved a lot of paperwork. But the absence of a will, it turned out, was the least of my concerns. Stephen's S word left me in breach of contract with our various business partners. I had no idea that S word was considered a morality clause. Myself together and take meetings. Wait, hold on. Was considered a morality clause violation. So I had no idea that S word was considered a morality clause violation. So before Stephen had even been memorialized, I had to pull myself together and take meetings with our CPA and various business partners. Now, remember I told you that there was a video where Allison said the next day, right after Twitch took his life, allegedly, the next day, she got up to go to work to write contracts and do business deals. That's sick. That's sick, man. CPA and various business partners to determine which, if any, of our deals could be salvaged. And I had to manage all this without the person whose option and guidance I had come to rely on the most. His absence was the reason I was in this predicament. So now she just blamed him. Overnight, some companies completely cut ties with me. Others bowed out tactfully. I went from being a sought-after influencer to untouchable. Sought-after influencer to untouchable. Collateral damage from Stephen's S word. To those who declined to move forward with me, I had to be gracious and say, I understand, when in reality, I couldn't make the last bit of sense of anything. What I'm sensing here is she didn't really think that by allegedly murdering Twitch and playing the S word card that it would affect businesses and money and deals. She didn't know that. She didn't calculate the costs. That's what I'm getting. You know? Yeah, so his absence was the reason I was in this predicament. I had to be gracious and say, I understand, when in reality, I couldn't make the least bit sense of any that I was going through. God bless Dick's Sporting Goods, which was stuck with 2 apparel collections of ours were tagged and ready to hit the sales floors, but could no longer be sold. So as you can see, it was messing up the money. She didn't contemplate that. She thought the money would just be there and the business deals would still be there. It cost the company millions of dollars in losses, and yet its executives stood behind me. Their continued support allowed me to pay bills and stay afloat during this tumultuous time. There's so much to get from this. Let me see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more pages. But I ain't reading all of that. I'll do that another time. I'll do that another time because I'm reading this, but I'm breaking it down at the same time. There's so much information in here, man. It's like I could do a reaction video of a reaction video with just, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Say I read about 10 pages. Got about 5 or 6 more left. I'll do that another time. So, ladies and gentlemen, based on what we just witnessed here, man, Allison is evil, man. Allison is evil. You know, when you study all of this mess, it don't make no sense. And I know she didn't write this book. It says Allison. It says about the author. There's no way she wrote this. And from the day Twitch died till now, she wrote all these pages. Nah. She ain't write this book. That book was not written by her. It was not. But you heard it, guys. She basically assumed Twitch of being a pedophile in the making. And how he took himself out because he was nervous that he was going to touch his own son. That's sick, man. She's making this up as she go, man. So, there you got it. All right. And there's so much in this book. There's so much in this book. All I want is the truth. All I want is the truth so that we could continue our investigation, because we know this book is full of lies. We know that. But it shares a lot about her mentality, man. That man was murdered, man. That's sad, bro. Imagine being murdered and everybody think you took your life. But you were murdered. But people believe you took your life. So guys, we're going to get up on out of here, man. Ringo TV reactions. And again, guys, we're the first. All right? So when you see everybody else popping up out of the blue, saying blah, 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 you know where they got it from. And there's a lot more content coming up. A lot more. We're going to continue on with chapter 13 on another video, another episode. This stuff is draining, fam. Like reading all of that while breaking it down, it drains you out, bro. Because I'm like, this woman is sick. The things that she said about Twitch is so... And if the family is listening to this, I know they pissed. I know they pissed off. Because it's like, she said so many things that are lies. Imagine she made Twitch out to be a pedophile too. That's evil, man. So guys, we're going to get up on out of here. We'll be back later on with more. To continue the series, do what we got to do. Make sure y'all rate, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell for more content as we continue the series of Allison Holker Allison Holker's book, staggering details of what she discovered with Twitch, from finding drugs, stockpiles of drugs, mushrooms and pills, to her believing that Twitch took his life because he knew he was going to end up touching his own son. So he got himself out of there to protect his family. This is some sick, sick stuff that she published, man. Nobody should rock with that lady, man. That lady is evil. So we're going to get up on out of here, guys. Y'all be safe. Have a blessed day. And that's about it. Ringo TV Reactions. We salute you. Have a blessed day. I got to go get something to eat and take care of a few things. It's like there's so much to this stream here, man. There's so much in this live, bro. Like, when you watch the playback, if you watch the playback, man, it'll overwhelm you, man. Just the little bit that we talked about, it'll really overwhelm you. Like, damn, this woman was a... I'm trying not to cuss. I'm trying to keep it clean. You know what I mean? But this woman is evil, bro. Cold. A narcissist. It's like she just have no empathy for this man. Like, the things that she said is so diabolical. Like, damn. How could you even say these things about this man? It's like this whole thing just drained me. It's like a dark energy, man. Like, just evil, man. Like, it make you, it's like a dark. So we'll continue later on, guys. Y'all take care. Ringo TV Reactions salute you. Y'all take care. Peace and blessings to the mods in the chat. Right. And again, also thanks to Exandra for the support. Appreciate you sponsoring the work. I'll catch y'all all later on. Ringo TV Reactions. We out of here, y'all. Peace. We out.
If you like our content, consider supporting via Cash App at $Ringo TV Raw. Become a patron on patreon.com for exclusive video content not shown on YouTube. You could also support through PayPal at paypal.me/Ringo TV Raw. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and click the bell to be notified of new content. Follow me on Instagram at Ringo TV Raw.
This is Ringo TV Reactions, the only channel on YouTube bringing you the truth 100% raw and uncut. I'm out. Peace.